Hello there, Crispy Bacon Army. It's Crispy Bacon here, and today I will be ranking each Premier League side's transfer window. And without further ado, let's get into it. And before we start the video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe because I'd highly appreciate it and it would really make me happy. So first of all, we have Arsenal. Let's have a look at their transfer window. They signed Calafiori for 45 million. They signed Mikel Merino for 32 million. David Raya for 32 million as well. They did sell players like Ramsdale, Smith Rowe and Nketiah and get in Neto and Sterling on loan, which Sterling to Arsenal, all he needs is all he needs is Man United and Tottenham, and he's got the complete bloody bunch of the top six. Then we look at the players they've loaned out. Sambi Lokonga to Sevilla, Nelson to Fulham, Tavares to Lazio, Karl Hein to Real Valladolid, Fabio Vieira to Porto. All in all, it's not top notch and it's not terrible. I'm going to put it mid because Mikel Merino's injured. David Raya and Ricardo Calafiori, well, it's just your goalkeeper and your centre-back. Calafiori barely gets playing time because he's a centre-back. Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes are ahead of him, and they paid 45 million for his services on the bench. Aston Villa. Let's have a look. Amadou Onana for 60 million. Ian Maatsen for 45 million. By the way, I am rounding some of these digits up if you are confused. Well, I'm not going to say Cameron Archer because they immediately sold him. Jadon Philogene for 16 million. Samuel Illing Jr. for 14 million. Lewis Dobbin for 12 million. Enzo Barrenechea for 8 million. Ross Barkley for 6 million. And the players they sold: Moussa Diaby. They sold Moussa Diaby and ended up bringing in 3 more wingers. Dobbin, however, and Illing Jr. went out on loan. But Moussa Diaby for 60 million. That's good. It's good transfer business. Then you've got Douglas Luiz, sold for 52 million. However, they bought someone who was 8 million more, but younger by, I think it was like 5 years, and has more potential. Cameron Archer sold for 18 million to Southampton. Tim Oregbanam, Everton to 11 million. I mean, I thought that they could have just done a swap deal for Dobbin and Tim Oregbanam, because that would have made more sense. But, you know, clubs like to keep it complicated. And yeah, they even loaned out the players to get them game time. The notable loan transfer was Alex Moreno going to Nottingham Forest. Overall, Aston Villa, one of the best incomings of the season. I'm putting them in top notch because they've made profits off deals. They've got better players now. And just like getting better players, let's go to Bournemouth, who signed Evan Ilson for a club record 37 million, alongside Luis Sinisterra for 24 million, Enes Unal, Dean Huijsen, Julian Araujo, and Alex Paulson. They were all of the other signings they made. They also loaned in Kepa Arrizabalaga. But however, they did lose their main man, Dominic Solanke, sold for 65 million. Yeah, it's good transfer business to say that they did only pay 21 million for him. So they've about tripled his transfer value. However, Lloyd Kelly as well, that was a massive blow. And then loaning out players like Hamid Traore, who at one point was the club's record signing, I believe. And then you've got Joe Rothwell, Roman Fabio, Jaden Anthony to Burnley. That Burnley side's looking absolutely frightening. Might even do a ranking championship sides. And if you do want to see that, then yeah, drop a like and comment. 3 likes, and I will do a ranking the championship transfer windows. They also loaned Chris Metham off to Sunderland, which pretty much surprised me, because I thought he stayed at Bournemouth until I was having a look and prepping for the video. Bournemouth, all in all, there was nothing to blow my socks off. However, it was better than Arsenal's because of Evanilson, Sinisterra and them. I'll give it decent. Brentford. Igor Thiago, 33 million. However, he's injured. That's sad. Sepp van der Berg, 23 million. Fabio Carvalho for 23 million. Gustavo Nunes and Jayden Magoma. Combined total of 17 million for players that are very, very young and could be brilliant in the long term. However, they did sell Ivan Toney and David Raya for a combined total of £74 million. I mean, yeah, they've hit about evens with their signings. Maybe, 74 million from income, 98 million from incomings, and outgoings, they got 74.5 million for it. However, they did loan out players like Ben Winterbottom to AFC Clyde and Miles Peart-Harris to Swansea. They're good youth players. However, there is literally, you might be thinking, what am I going to rank it? Well, due to them signing Gustavo Nunes, Jayden Magoma, Fabio Carvalho, Sepp van der Berg, and Igor Thiago, players that could develop into best players, I'm going to put it in top notch. It's not as good as Aston Villa's, and I will announce the best window at the end, just like the worst window. It's not as good as Aston Villa's, however, it's just all in all solid. Brighton up next. I'll just tell you how much they spent. 231 million, and they sold 48 million's worth. I mean, yeah, they still have had the money from the Caicedo deals and whoever else they've sold over the years. However, one deal that really shocked me was them selling Billy Gilmore for 14 million. I would have got more money than that if I was them, because he was an up-coming player. They took him away from Chelsea because he wasn't getting game time. He came to the Brighton and Hove Albion training centre, performed well, got on the pitch, did his best job, and then got sold to Napoli. Yeah, good for him, he's got European football now, but he had European football a season ago. I think he's moved too early, and I think Brighton could have got more money for him. Anywho, they did sign players like Matt O'Reilly, who is now injured, Ferdi Kadioglu, you got Brajan Gruda, Matt FIFA, Yankuba Minter, Jorginho Ruta. Why are they all ending in R's or Ers? Oh my god. Ibrahim Osman, Malik Yalkuya, and Koisia Dewberry from the Arsenal side. Now let's have a look at who they have sold as well. I've already mentioned Gilmore, but I've also mentioned Dennis Undav for 27 million and Pascal Gross for 7 million. They also let Dahoud go on a free. They loaned out Yalkuya to Sturm Graz, Abdullah Simmer to Stade Brestois, Jeremy Sarmiento to Burnley, Francisco Buonanotte to Leicester. Who else do they have? Odeluga Afire to Blackpool on loan, Mario Koisia Dewberry to Blackburn on loan, Andrew Moran to Stoke on loan, Valentin Barco to Sevilla on loan, and then they also have Tom McGill to MK Dons on loan, Carl Rushworth to Hull on loan, and they let Steven Alzate go on a free. Well, with their transfer business, is where I'm going to say they're definitely going to get. I reckon they should get. Oh, God, what the hell just happened there? My apologies, we've just had a technical issue. I'll be back in a minute. Well, we're back and I've put Brighton in top notch for the reason I was explaining before the technical issue caused my tier list to shut down. Anywho, they have made some good deals signings wise. They could have got more money on the other side, and that it was close to being indecent, but the signings just outnumbered the little money for Billy Gilmore. Anywho, next up is Chelsea. Signed Pedro Neto, Joao Felix, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, Philippe Jorgensen, Max Penders, Renato Viega, Caleb Wiley, Mark Yu, Tosin Adarabioyo, and Aaron Anselmino. They also signed Jadon Sancho on loan. But listen to me here. This is probably one of the longest lists of players out I'm going to read to you. Ian Matson, Conor Gallagher, Lewis Hall, Romelu Lukaku, Amari Hutchinson, Diego Moreira, Thiago Silva, Hakim Ziyech, Malang Sarr, Tino Anjorin, and then these are the loans. Max Penders, Aaron Anselmino, Alfie Gilchrist, Caleb Wiley, Kepa Arrizabalaga, George Petrovic, Trevor Chalobah, Raheem Sterling, Armando Broja, Gabriel Solanina, Bashir Humphreys, Leslie Ugachugwu, and Eddie Beach. Yeah, I'm just gonna already I'll put it in overrated. In fact, it's terrible actually, because they've spent too much money on players that barely get in their squad. 20 million on a goalkeeper, and then they're not even using him in the squad this year. And then you got 25 million for a goalkeeper who's just going to play second fiddle to Robert Sanchez. Joao Felix and Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto don't even get starting time, just like Kiernan Dewsbury. Tosin Adarabioyo doesn't even get starting time. He only came here wanting game time and stuff, and he hasn't even got that. Crystal Palace up next, because I don't want to spend the whole video moaning about Chelsea again. I've got a diss track coming on them. Yeah, and keep an eye out for the kind of sponsor of today's video. It is with at Chowtix. We have decided to start a Roblox talk show that will drop on Fridays at 4:30 or 5 p.m. Depends on what channel you would like to watch it on. It's not technically sponsoring the video, it is just an announcement on the new changes to the Crispy Bacon YouTube channel. So thank you for listening to the announcement. Now, Eddie Nketiah, 30 million from Arsenal. And that is another reason why Arsenal are in mid, selling their academy players. The players that could have been so good for them. They were so good for them. Emile Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, and then they decided to sell them because they didn't have the space. Give them another year, or at least loan them out before selling them. Maurice Lacroix, 18 million from Wolfsburg. Chris Riyad, 15 million from Real Betis. Ismaila Sarr, 15 million from Marseille. Daichi Kamada, 3 from Lazio. Matt Turner and Trevor Chalobah on loan. And then they sold 100 million's worth of players, most notably Michael Olise and Joachim Andersen for a combined fee of 83 million. Sam Johnston went out for 12 million, Jordan Ayew for 6 million, Scott Banks for 400k, Jaro Riedewald for 3, and then they loaned out Malcolm Ebiowei to Oxford, Jasur Ramraksaki to Sheffield United, David Ozo to Derby County, Joe Whitworth to Exeter, and Odsonne Edouard to Leicester. All in all, I think it's an overrated transfer window. They're all about bringing in these fresh players. They they haven't filled in the void really. Ismail Assar to replace Michael Elise. I mean, are you serious? You got 100 million and you only decided to spend 77 million. And most of that spending was on blooming centre backs when you've already got Mark Yehi and Rob Holding. It's overrated, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. Everton, Jim O'Brien from Olympique Lyon, Iliman Ndiaye and Tim Oregbenam for 28 million in total. Jesper Lindstrom on loan, with Armando Broja and Orel Mangala also on loan. Asmir Begovic on a free. And then you've got outgoings. Onana for 60 million, that's good deals. Ben Godfrey for 12 million, another good deal, because he won't get in game time. Lewis Dobbin, 12 million as well, good deal. Neil Maupay on a loan to buy to Marseille, and they got 500 grand for it. Andy Lonergan, free transfer to Wigan. And then you've got loans of Mason Holgate and Harry Tyrer to West Brom and Blackpool respectively. Dele Alli and Andre Gomez in the free agents. However, that don't matter. Overall, what would I give it? I'd give it a decent. And is it decent ahead of Bournemouth? Or are they going to be ahead of Bournemouth and then bottle a 3-0 lead? I mean a 2-0 lead and lose 3-2? Everton's transfer window. On the players they signed to the players they sold, I'll give it decent. It's better than Arsenal's because they got an absolute stonking fee for Amadou Onana. Fulham, they were the scene of bargains. Emil Smith-Rowe for 32 million, a bargain really. Joachim Anderson, 30 million, bargain. Sander Berge, 24 million, bargain. George Cuenca for 7 million, bargain. Ryan Sessegnon for free transfer, that's definitely a bargain. And Reece Nelson from Arsenal on loan, nice, bargain. And they managed to sell Joao Palhinha for 51 million, Jay Stansfield for 80 million to Birmingham. That is a League One transfer fee record. And then they also let Tim Ream, Terence Francois, Marek Rodak, Bobby Decordova-Reid, Kevin Mbabu and Tosin leave on frees to Charlotte, Wigan, Al Ettifaq, Leicester, FC Midtjylland and Chelsea. They also had players like Willian and Terence Congolo who did not get a club. Overall, Fulham's transfer window is better than Brighton's. It's better than Bournemouth's. And I'll tell you if it is better than Aston Villa's at the end of the video. Now then, Ipswich. This is one where it could send controversy. Just before we start Ipswich, thank you Ipswich for loaning Marcus Harness to the club because we got to see him with his dog. Paul Warren might have been a bit angry at that, but you know, his dog needed to come and the dog was on the social media shoot, which was pretty fun. And has probably produced one of the most favourite Paul Warren transfer shoots of his entire career as a manager. They also gave us Caden Jackson on a free transfer. They only sold 1.65 million worth of players. They loaned out Elkan Badak to Blackpool, Cameron Humphreys to Wickham, George Edmondson to Middlesbrough, let Freddie Ladapo and Dominic Ball go on a free, Junaid Donasian also has gone on a free, Vaclav Hladky went to Burnley for free, Nathan Hayes, I believe it is, went to Barnet on a free. Oh, it's Nick Hayes, sorry. And then you also had Pantuche Kamara go to Crawley on a free. Now let's get tackling into the transfers. Spent 126 million. However, they did get the Premier League money and the TV money, which enabled them to get all of this money and not sell their players. Amari Hutchinson, 24 million from Chelsea. Jacob Greaves, 22 million from Hull. Liam Delap, 18 million from Man City. Jack Clark, 18 million from Sunderland. Dara O'Shea, 15 million from Burnley. Sam Schmodix, 11 million from Blackburn. Arnaut Murik, 10 million from Burnley. Chidize Ogbene, 10 million from Luton. Jens Kajust loaned in for 1.5 million. Yep, a loan fee of 1.5 million. Connor Townsend, £600,000 from West Brom. Ben Johnson on a free transfer from West Ham. The West right backs or left back in that case for Connor Townsend. And Calvin Phillips loan from Man City. All in all, it's decent. It's better than Bournemouth, and it's way better than Everton. Up next, Leicester. This is the quick fire round for Leicester. I'm just going to read you who they signed. Oliver Skipp, El Khanous, Fatawu, Okoli, Ayo, Michael Golding, Bobby Decordova-Reid, and Francisco Buonanotte and Odsonne Edouard on loan. Now, the outgoings, obviously, Kiernan Dewsbury for 36 million, but apart from that, nothing much, with loans for Wanya Marshall, Tom Cannon and Harry Souttar. Dennis Pratt is still a free agent. Mark Albrighton retired from football. And yeah, overall, I'll put it in overrated. Up next, Liverpool. In the second speed round, Georgini Mamadashvili for 30 million. However, he will stay at Valencia for the season. Federico Chiesa for 12 million. What a bargain. Spaghetti Mafia's happy. I nearly said the Italian Mafia's happy. However, that's a bit too extreme. However, they did decide to sell players like Sepp Vandenberg and Fabio Carvalho for like 50 million to Brentford. Adrian went on a free transfer. Calvin Rasby, let's not forget that they did sell Bobby Clark for 10 million to RB Salzburgs. They also let Calvin Ramsey, Stefan Bajcetic, Marcelo Pitaluga? Yep, Marcelo Pitaluga, Nat Phillips, Ben Doak and Reece Williams go out on loan. Thiago Alcantara retired and Joel Matip still a free agent. Thank you to Liverpool for loaning us Nat Phillips. He would be a really good player to cement into our back line. Overall, I'll give Liverpool a mid, but it was not better than Arsenal's transfer window. Yes, it was, because they signed Federico Chiesa for 12 million, and that's what we call a bargain. Another quick fire round here, Man City. You're probably thinking, why am I doing it over the big clubs? Because the big clubs have good squads that they did not need to really sign anyone. Man City signed Savinio for 25 million and signed Gundogan on a free transfer. The boys are back in town. That's the song to really make it feel good. However, if the boys are back in town, then why are some of them leaving? Julian Alvarez, 75 million to Atletico Madrid. Joao Cancelo, 25 million to Al Hilal. Ever since he argued with Pep Guardiola, things went downhill for his career. He even missed out on the treble in literally the season he went out on loan due to the argument. If he hadn't argued, he could have been a treble winner and still playing for Man City. But now he's in the deserts with Al Hilal playing with Neymar. That's pretty good for his career now, playing with Neymar. Oh wait, Neymar's injured again. Taylor Harwood-Bellis for 23 million, Sergio Gomez for 9 million, Tommy Doyle for 5 million from Wolves, Jan Couto loaned out to Borussia Dortmund with a 4 million loan fee, Issa Kabore loaned out to Benfica, and Calvin Phillips loaned out to Ipswich, and Maxi Perrone to loan out to Como. Overall, I'm putting it in decent. It was better than Bournemouth's transfer window. It's better than Everton's transfer window. But in my eyes, it was not better than Ipswich's transfer window. You can call that controversial all you want. Right, Manchester United. This is one where there are actually signings to address. Lenny Oro, 62 million. It's not what I'd call a bargain for an injured player, but it's a good fee. Manuel Ugarte for 50 million. Once again, a good fee. Matthias de Ligt for 45 million, overpaid a bit. Joshua Zirkzee for 42.5 million, overpaid a bit. Nizim Mazraoui, bargain of a 15 million. I'd buy him every day of the week if I had 15 million. However, they did sell 103 million worth of players. Martial and Brandon Williams are still in the free agents. They loaned Jadon Sancho out. Amari Forson and Rafael Varane went to Monza and Como on frees. Bonnie Donny van der Beek went to Girona, and Manchester United received £500,000. Facundo Pellistri, 6 million to Panathinaikos, and Alvaro Carreras, who used to be Alvaro Fernandez, went to Benfica for £6 million. Hannibal Mejri went to Burnley for £6.5 million. Willy Cambala went to Villarreal for £10 million. Aaron Wan-Bissaka went to West Ham for £18 million. Mason Greenwood went to Marseille for £26 million. And Scott McTominay went to Napoli for £30.5 million. Overall, I'm putting it in top notch. However, it's in a tie with Aston Villa and Fulham to see who will be in the best window. And so far, we've only had one terrible window, which looks like it's going to be Chelsea in the worst window. Oh no, for Chelsea. Yep, another evidence of why selling all of their youth academy players to sign these random geezers who are not getting game time. Lewis Hall, 33 million from Chelsea, paid way too much for him, especially when he barely played for them last season. Odysseus Vlachodimos from Nottingham Forest for 24 million. Will Azula, 12 million from Sheffield United. Got a good centre-back in Lloyd Kelly. They did sell two players, Yankuba Minter to Brighton for 35 million. Elliot Anderson to Forest for 42 million. They let Matt Ritchie go to Portsmouth, Ryan Fraser go to Southampton, and if I can pronounce the name, Kel Watts to Cambridge, and they all went on frees. Paul Dummett, Loris Karius and Jeff Hendrick are still free agents. Joe White and Harrison Ashby were loaned out to MK Dons and QPR respectively. Overall, I would rate it in overrated, but it was better than Leicester's. The only reason why I'd put it in overrated is because the fees they paid way too much nowadays. Nottingham Forest transfer business. Well, I'm going to go in another quick fire round. Elliot Anderson, Morato, Nikola Milenkovic, Ramon Sosa, Diego Carmo, Jota Silva, Marco Stamanic, Carlos Miguel from Corinthians, Eduardo da Silva, no, it's Eric da Silva Moreira, James Ward-Prowse and Alex Moreno on loan, Zane Abbott from Nottingham Forest on the 21 side. Let's go to the outgoings. 32 million for Musa Niakate, 24 million for Odysseus Vlachodimos, 24 million for Angel Mangala. I think it is Onel Mangala. It's Onel Callum. My apologies for the pronunciations. Joe Worrell, 6 million to Burnley. Remo Freuler, 5 million to Bologna. And then you had Scott McKenna and Loic Mbersar go to Las Palmas and Beershot respectively. Diego Carmo went on loan to Olympiacos with Marco Stamanic. The players that went to Rio Ave on loan were Brandon Aguilera, Jonathan Panzo and Omar Richards. Matt Turner went to Crystal Palace on loan. Alex Mighton went to San Diego FC on loan. Lewis O'Brien's at LAFC on loan. Josh Bowler went to Preston on loan. Harry Arter, Cheku Kuyate and Wayne Hennessy are still free agents. Felipe did retire. And overall, it was a terrible window. You're probably thinking, why have you put it in terrible? Elliot Anderson, 42 million, you're barely going to play him. The only good players they brought in were Morato, James Ward-Prowse and Alex Moreno. And James Ward-Prowse and Alex Moreno were loans. Most of the players they brought in, Carlos Miguel for 4 million. Yeah, he's going to be the backup goalkeeper. Josh Da Silva scored a good goal against Newcastle, but I don't reckon he's going to play. Diego Carmo, 11 million. And then they've loaned him out to Olympiacos. Milenkovic, I don't. They've signed so many players before and they didn't gel. I'm thinking it's going to happen like that again. Southampton up next. Talking about signing too many players, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 players. It's not as much as Forest's 40 players, but let's get into it. Taylor Harwood Bellis. This is another speed round. So, 3, 2, 1, speed round time. Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Aaron Ramsdale, Flynn Downs, Cameron Archer, Mateus Fernandez, Ben Brereton Diaz, Sugawara from AZ Alkmaar, Ronnie Edwards, Nathan Wood, Charlie Taylor, Ryan Fraser, Adam Lallana, Takoka from the Japanese side, Wellington from Sao Paulo, Juan from Sao Paulo, Matsuki from FC Tokyo, signed Cornet and Ugo Chugwu on loan from West Ham and Chelsea. Now let's have a look at how much they cost them. It was £117.5 million. Out of the door, Carlos Alcaraz for 18 million, Sekumara for 12 million to Strasbourg, Lianco for 5 million to Atletico MG, Duja Kaleta 3 million to Olympique Lyon, just like Roman Perot, 3.5 million to Real Betis. Che Adams to Torino on a free. Liss and Juan went to Göztepe. Che Charles went on loan to Sheffield Wednesday. Stuart Armstrong's a free agent. And overall, I'm going to give it... Let's have a think. Let me just have a look at the ingoings again. Incomings. Some of these players haven't even proved themselves at the Premier League level. It's going to be the third one in terrible. They've just signed a bunch of players that haven't proved themselves. Flynn Downs didn't prove himself at West Ham. Aaron Ramsdale is the only proven player to play in the Premier League. Harwood-Bellis is championship level in my eyes. Mateus Fernandez, he's played for Sporting, so that's good. Ben Brereton Diaz played in the Premier League before, but it was terrible. Ronnie Edwards from League One, Nathan Wood from the Championship, Charlie Taylor and Ryan Fraser, they've played in the Premier League before. However, they've not proven themselves. Just like Ugo Chugwu and Cornet that they brought in on loan. Let's go to Tottenham now. And this will be brought to you in another speed round. Dominic Solanke, Archie Gray, Wilson Odobert, Lucas Bergwall, Yang, and... I can't pronounce Yang's first name. So, yeah. Now the outgoings, Oliver Skipp, 24 million. Emerson Royale, 15 million. Joe Rodon, 12 million. Giovanni Lo Celso, 5 million. Evan Perisic, Ryan Sessegnon, Tanguy Ndombele, Eric Dyer and Japhet Tanganga went on freeze to Hajduk Split, Fulham, OGC Nice, Bayern Munich and Millwall on freeze. And they were the clubs listed from player order that I listed before. Japhet Tanganga obviously played for Millwall last season and then went back for a second bite of the cherry. Ashley Phillips, Dane Scarlett, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Brian Gill, Manuel Solomon and Alessio Veliz went out on loan. Overall, I'd give it a decent transfer window. Better than Bournemouth's, better than Everton's, better than Man City's, but not as good as Ipswich's. West Ham. Here we go. Oh no, I already know where I'm putting them, but let's just read you the chances. Kilman for 48 million, Somerville for 30 million, Fulkrug for 27 million, Guilherme for 23 million, Wan-Bissaka for 18 million, West Frodingham on a free, Guido Rodriguez on a free, Carlos Soler and John Cletovito on loan. They sold Flynn Downs for 18 million, Saad Benrahma for 15 million, Tila Kehrer for 11 million, Nathan Trott for 2 million, Jefferson Nang, Ben Johnson and Angelo Ogbonna went on freeze to St Patrick's, Ipswich and Watford. Maxwell Cornet and James Ward-Prowse and that Kante they signed, not N'Golo Kante. Naif Aguerd went on loan to Southampton, Nottingham Forest, Paris FC and Real Sociedad. Divabim Mabamas, a player without a club. And let's not forget Kurt Zouma, who went to Al Aruba on loan. And you already seen where I put him. Now then, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Andre for 22 million. Gomez from Braga for 15 million, Johnston for 12 million, Pedro Lima for 10 million, Tommy Doyle for 5 million, Mupiu for 5 million, a loan for 3 million from Celta Vigo for Larson, Carlos Forbes, loan fee of 2.5 million. Let's have a look at their outgoings. Thank you for loaning us to Wanda Chirewa, by the way. Kijana Hoover went on loan to Angers, Hugo Bueno on loan to Feyenoord, Jan Campbell on loan to Reading, Fabio Silva on loan to Las Palmas, Joe Hodge on loan to Huddersfield, and Nathan Fraser on loan to Zult Waregem. Just like Chiquinho, who's gone on loan to Mallorca. Then you've got Boller and Molden to Crystal Palace and Rapid Vienna. Max Kilman was the outgoing with Pedro Neto. They sold 100 million worth of players. And overall, I would put them... They never signed anyone to replace Neto. It's terrible business in my eyes. What did I just... Oh, my apologies. We have just had a ad pop up out of nowhere when I'm trying to drag Wolves into the terrible section. If it would load. Thank you. Up next, let's have a look. Aston Villa, Fulham, Manchester United or West Ham for the best transfer window. It goes to Aston Villa with West Ham in second, Fulham in third, Manchester United in fourth, followed by Brentford in fifth, Brighton and Hove Albion in sixth, Ipswich in seventh, Tottenham in eighth, Man City in ninth, Everton in 10th, Bournemouth in 11th, Liverpool in 12th, Arsenal in 13th, 14th with Newcastle, 15th with Leicester, 16th with Crystal Palace, 17th with Wolves, Southampton, Chelsea or Forest. Well, the worst business of the window has to go to Wolves. 17th Southampton, 18th Forest, 19th Chelsea and 20th Wolves. Thank you for watching. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you around in the next video. Crispy Bacon Army.